YouTube, how's it going guys? Today I'm going to be demonstrating a picture I did in 3 different mediums. On the left I'm working in Inktense on hot press 140 pound watercolor paper, the one in the bonded pad. The brand is Fabriano Artistico. In the middle, I'm working in pencil crayon on Fabriano Artistico hot press 140 pound watercolor paper, the one that you get in the individual sheets. I'm using Mona Lisa odorless mineral spirits to blend out the color. On the right, I'm using Pastel, both Sennelier soft pastels and the Faber-Castell pastel pencils on Clairefontaine pastelmat paper. For all of these pictures, I'm just doing, I think it was 4.5 by 6 inches. And, well, I think the pastel one was the first one I did, and I started off with 4.5 by 6 inches, and then realized that when I was going to frame it in a 5 by 7 mat, it didn't actually look that, like I wasn't able to have the entire picture in the thing, so I had to crop off a little bit of the edges. So that's just a point to make for future artwork. And when you're planning out your artwork, plan for how you're going to frame the artwork, because you don't want to end up cropping off more than what you wanted, and you spend a whole bunch of time working on those little bunny ears on the edge and then realize, oh, I'm going to be covering that up anyway. So anyway, that's just a future point. I'm not really going to go into the details of the process for these pictures, but I will mention some of the differences that I found in working with these 3 different mediums. So the first most important difference, I would say, is the time. Inktense and Pastel took about the same amount of time. It was 3 hours for the 4 by 6 size, or 4.5 by 6, or whatever it was. But for the pencil crayon, it took almost 10. So if I'm working on a commission, I'm probably not going to choose pencil crayon as my medium of choice, just because it's going to take me so much longer to do. And you'll see at the end, Pastel looks a lot better than the pencil crayon, at least for this kind of picture, a portrait where I'm having to do a lot of blending. It just makes more sense to use a medium where I can blend a lot more easily, a lot quicker, something like that. Different mediums will lend themselves better to different images, I guess you could say. The other difference is the way that you can work. So with Pastel, you can work from light to dark or dark to light. It doesn't really matter. The color will go over top of the other layers fairly easily. With pencil crayon, you kind of have to work from, light to dark. So you don't want to be putting light or lighter colored stuff over top of other layers. I mean, you can, but you'll never get it as white as it was before. So if you want to keep an area white or bright white, you have to leave the paper showing through to maintain that white color. For Inktense, you can go either from light to dark or dark to light, although I find that you won't get that bright white unless you reserve the white of the paper underneath. Another thing I want to mention about planning out your artwork is that if you're using the individual sheets of paper, some of them will have a watermark on the back. The one that I was using, the Fabriano Artistico, had a watermark in the bottom right-hand corner of this picture, and because I was covering the whole of the paper with pencil crayon, you could still see the lettering in the background. So if that's something that you're concerned about, try to avoid including the watermark in the paper you're using for your artwork. If I were to make a choice of which medium would be my favorite to work in, I would have to say either the Inktense or the Pastel. I love the way the pastel looks when it's finished. It has a very smooth, velvety texture to it, and it has really bright, vibrant colors. The Inktense also has very bright and vibrant color, and you can play around with it a lot more and get a really loose watercolor-y type feel to it. So it would just depend on the type of mood that I'm in, whether I want to work in a more realistic style with the pastel or a more fluid style, I guess you could say, with the Inktense. I hope you enjoyed watching this video. It's kind of neat to see a video done 3 different ways, side by side or whatever, just to see how it unfolds. Stay tuned to see some of my future work. We'll see you next time.